Welcome back to the Titanian Hanger. Welcome to my 15,000 subscribers special. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about these great collections. These are viewer collections. This is a time to give back to the viewers, saying thanks for all the views, all the comments, all the shares, all the likes, and all that kind of stuff. But also to get some good ideas on how to display your collections. Now, if you are new to the channel, I talk about vintage 80s, some 90s, toy properties, actual vintage toys, bootlegs, KOs, modern representations of those. But before we get into looking at these collections, I got two things I want to say. First off, I want to talk about the channel memberships. There are channel memberships. You can join a channel membership on YouTube. I haven't done that yet, or Patreon, but I'm kind of curious what my viewers think about that, because I always like the fact that YouTube is free to watch, and so I'm not sure how I feel about Patreon and all those things, so leave those comments down below. But without further ado, let's get into looking at these great collections. All right, so let's take a look at Angel's collection. We're going to start with Angel's collection, and he's sent in some pictures in the past, and he's done a great job with some of his backgrounds, seen individual shelves, and we're going to look deeper into some of these individual shelves, but he's done a phenomenal job with customizing backgrounds, displays, and setting it up. This is the whole shebang in one shot, and it does look good. It looks nice and clean, coherent, cohesive. Everything looks like it is there with a purpose. So let's look a little bit deeper into this. He's made himself a custom slipstream, which looks really good, and right next to a thundercracker, so you can kind of see it's almost masterpiece scale and size, so it looks good enough to fit in with all these guys. So custom work on a figure and custom work on displays. So this is when you get to really see the extent of the work that he's put into his collection. His displays, this is just one shelf. This is a seeker shelf, looks fantastic. And you see the faux rock that's in there. You see the background, looks like it's a really good background, like a lava flowing and all that kind of stuff. Fantastic. All the different elevations and levels worked in there so you can see each figure. One thing I didn't notice in the past, I don't know if this is something new that he's done, but I didn't notice this in the past, that he's labeled it. Look where the purple one, it says hot link down there. So that's pretty interesting. Now, I don't know if that's more of, like, I want to remember the name, or of this is where this one goes, so that the colors make sense and all of that. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. That's sort of next level. I've never even really thought about labeling where I put them. So here's a great idea if you have headmasters. So we've got the Fans Toys version of Cerebros, and then of course we've got Hardhead, and so we've got the Make Toys. Make Toys made those other two, and so with that, those are different companies mixed in there. But at the top, alt mode of some Titan Returns figures, they're smaller scale, but in the alt mode, it looks like it fits, and it almost could be like a perspective thing as they're flying over. Fantastic idea how to fit this scale and have the vertical space filled up properly and adequately. Great job right there. Got some Beast Wars stuff going on in here, looking pretty good too. So yeah, that stuff looks good. Now, is that trans art? Because the trans metal figures, because that does look really good overall. And so with that, that's like next level Beast Wars, closer to the end of Beast Wars. Pretty cool stuff. Angel, thanks for sharing your awesome collection and your updates to your displays and all that kind of stuff. Fantastic work. Next up, we've got Gibb, who has gone into the good old Super 7 Thundercats. And so what I want to say is the figures themselves look amazing, but if you display them with the right lighting and all that kind of stuff, they can look even better. So with the right light on them and pose, they look good. So this does look fantastic. I really like the way these figures pop on a shelf. And so with that, it's decking out a collection really fast. Pretty awesome right there. And so I'm wondering, what are you going to do with Future Space? What are you planning if you add more figures to it in the future? Are you planning all that? That would be interesting to find out. And of course, interesting to see down the road in future videos such as this. So here is a Legends. Is this Legends? Yeah, Legends display. And it looks really good. Some of this, I think, it's a mix. It's a mix of some Magic Square, and you've got some New Age in there, and probably some other ones too. So pretty cool. So you got the elevation in this, and of course in a DTOF, taking all that space in there and making it look all spaced out properly. Very nice, well spaced out, and you get to see every figure. It looks really good. Here's the good guys. So the bad guys got the good guys, which is kind of making me now want to go pick up that New Age version of Skyfire. That thing does look awesome in a display. So very nice. Overall, this whole entire setup does look good too. Translating it over to the Autobots, putting Prime at the top. I didn't talk about it in the last picture. Megatron was at the top, and then seeing what do you do with a Jetfire, which one's that's so much bigger than the rest of them, so much bigger. Well, what you do is you put them at the lower level, which is pretty cool. So that is awesome. Just the way that looks, and then the Carbots mixed in there with all. Now this does have a couple of different companies. That Brawn looks pretty good. Everything in here looks great. Fantastic job. So this appears, I believe this one is the original Takara Starsaber next to the Lio Kaiser from KFC. I believe that's KFC. I might be wrong though. But that does look good together and they look great. Kind of like right now we got the whole HasLab campaign starting, kicking off really to a very huge start for Deathsaurus. And so I'm wondering which Deathsaurus you're going to go with. So that's going to be interesting to see what he does with those. Probably going to get either X Transbots or UMC, but still, these look great, and that's awesome. Here's an Optimus Prime shelf, obviously introducing a Magic Square Optimus Prime. That does look like the Magic Square one. Looks really good overall, so pretty cool. And then we've got some movie Prime. So, you know, it's what is there too much Prime? Is there such thing as too much Prime? Well, you know what? There's just enough. Or there's no such thing as too much Prime. That's what I got from everybody from that video. There's not such thing as too much Prime. So it does look pretty good here. And they're different iterations of Movie Prime, by the way. I think one of them is from The Last Night. And I guess got these a little out of order. I wanted to kind of keep Legends with Legends. But, oh well. This is another Legends shelf, which looks fantastic overall. And so what we've got in here is some McFan's toys mixed with some New Age and sort of kind of giving an homage to the movie era of this. And that all works out really well. Does look pretty good overall. And you just can feel like you're in the 1986 movie right here. Gibb, thanks for the updates to your collection. Looks fantastic. Great job there. So here we go with Jason's. And we're about to see a lot of stuff that Jason has done. And with that, he's got some great looking setups going on right here. We're going to go kind of shelf by shelf. But looking at this, we get to see some bad guys overall in the Masterpiece scale. And starting like right in the middle, we got a Quintesson who's just kind of controlling it all. And then in the back with a Blitzwing and an Astro Train. Got all the triple changers in there. The early triple changers going on in there. Pretty awesome. One thing I don't see very much of, shelves of alt modes. There's a shelf of alt modes of Autobots, which is pretty cool and pretty interesting. So with that, I mean, I just don't see it a lot. So when you see it, it kind of stands out. I have had a couple people in the past send me shelves of alt mode, but I don't see it a lot. It's been a while actually. So this is pretty impressive, and you know, it takes quite a bit of time, attention, and care to get them to this modes, and it displays relatively well. Here's alt modes in the movie, the 1986 movie versions, so that looks pretty good. And, you know, one of the things when you get, like, something like the X-Transbots, who put a lot of time, work, and effort into their alt mode and accessories with the alt mode and all that kind of stuff, does kind of make it fun to display it in alt mode. So I don't see a ton of display in alt mode, but I think X-Transbots and those accessories kind of tend to make you want to, just a little bit more. And then, of course, you got Wreck-Gar riding Wreck-Gar. That's pretty cool, too. Here we go with some traditional bot mode picks, and it does look pretty good. So looking in the back, you see the big figures in the back. They seem to be elevated on clear risers in the back, and then smaller ones in the front. You can see every figure. It's not like any of them are blocked, and this does look pretty good overall. So nice looking mix of different companies. I think for this, you kind of are forced to, at this point in time, to mix companies to get everything you want. But in the future, maybe this could all be a Fans Toy shelf, or it all could be an X-Transbot shelf. Who knows in the future, but looks really nice. Here we go with some bad guys and Unicron. That's Zeta Unicron up in there. And then we've got some of the Fans Toys bots. And of course, I do really like that lemon tree as a Nemesis. But that thing is pretty cool. Is it Nemesis or Revenge? I think it's called the Revenge. But that looks great. And then we've got a set on that Starscream right there. Looks like we've got a Coronation set going on. That's pretty cool overall. So yeah, some little add-on accessories to spice it up just a bit, elevated, making that Unicron look even bigger than he is. I mean, we're never going to get scale Unicron. I don't think we ever really want to get a scale Unicron. So this is the next best thing, and it does fit very well. Now this is where he's done some work to the backgrounds, which I think eventually every shelf's going to get this treatment. But you look at the top one, the top right, and then the bottom left, and lots of time, work, effort, detail, lighting has gone into those shelves to make them look so much better. And that does look fantastic. And everything is displayed looking like it has a purpose. Even the ones that don't have the amount of detail in the displaying, like in the bottom right there, the figures are still posed, all with some sort of purpose, like they belong there, which looks pretty good. So that's the kind of displaying that it really makes you feel good about your hard work when you put out the work to make it look this good. Here are more of the shelves, and if you look at the top left, that's another one that he's put a lot of time, effort, and love into making that amazing looking display. So that looks fantastic right there. And then with some of these other ones, I think we've got like some Bumblebee movie stuff at the bottom that's a work in progress, and then some more Autobots at the top right. So still looking pretty good. And that's another thing, that when you display your stuff, a lot of people think everything has to happen overnight, but this is a collection, a lifelong collecting obsession that each day, each week, we make it a little bit better, right? Here's another one of Jason's fantastic pieces of art, work, customization right there for a display. And we've got Dinobots in here. We're on Earth with the Ark crashed in there, so that looks fantastic. Just I think he even made this before the Ark came out, so this is a relatively older one, I believe, but before the Titans class Ark was out, he's made this one, and that's pretty cool. This looks really good overall, and I do like how it does look like they're standing on ground or sand or something along those lines, and it looks like you actually have bushes in there, rock, and all that kind of stuff. All that looks like real nature. Fantastic, really awesome. Drags you right into the cartoon. Jason, thanks for the update. Your pictures look fantastic. Your collection looks fantastic. Okay, now we're going to get into Joe's collection. So I got a bunch of different pictures. I should probably lead with more of an overview picture. So there we go with an overview picture. And there's more to it too. This is just one corner of the room that seems to have the most going on. And if you look at statues, I want to point out, statues are big, but it's really hard to wrap your mind around just looking at some numbers going, okay, 24 inch, 36 inch, okay, great. But the size of those statues versus a Masterpiece collection, it almost looks like oh, there's his Legends collection down below. No, that's Masterpiece. That's Masterpiece compared to what we got going on up top there with statues. The statues are so big, so that's quite impressive what's going on with that. But yeah, it does actually look really good. Very clean too. So here's a nice closer up of some of the statues on the top, and we've got Masterpiece on the bottom. We are going to look a little bit closer at a couple of these Masterpiece shelves on the lower there, but they do look really good. And so with that, they're all spaced out. You can see everything really well. It's well lit, so there's a lot of good things in there. And then there's a background. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to introduce any art or anything to it, or just keep it looking very clean. So there's different ways to do it, different ways to display, and with it looking very clean like this, that is definitely an interesting way to view your collection. Here's a close-up at the lower shelf of the Decepticons we've got going on right here, all looking pretty good, and they're all spread out. And with this, you don't always see combiners next to other figures, so you don't see how big they are. So a lot of times people want to put their combiners either on their own shelf or together as combiners, so which I've kind of fallen into that, so putting all the combiners on one shelf. But mixed in like this, you definitely see the height difference, the size difference, and kind of what all the hype is behind these new larger scale combiners. This looks really good though. At the end of the day, looks really good. Here's some of the Bumblebee movie characters, and they're looking like we're building out the Bumblebee movie line down there, looking great also. So fantastic. So there's going to be more of these coming in the future. I'm not sure how close stylistically we're going to see with the new movie and all that, but with it, these do have that nice classic look with a bit of the live action feel to them. So it's a nice mix of the two, and it works. Area of the room, and they're big, they're massive. But one's huge. That Grimlock's huge, and the Optimus Prime and the Starscream are smaller. I do like how he elevated the smaller ones up a little bit higher than the bigger one. So instead of just having a big one and two small ones sit next to it, they look more on equal playing field. So that does look pretty good, and it works also to kind of accent around where the TV is and all that kind of stuff, integrating it with your media center and how you watch your TV and all that kind of stuff. That's really good work there too. So anyway, Joe, thank you so much for sharing these pictures of your collection. Great collection, very clean looking collection. So I did get one shot of Michael's collection. So we get to see some stuff going on right here. He's got a lot of helmets. These helmets look pretty cool. And then he's got some figures integrated and mixed in. And it's a nice little corner of happiness. And that does look good. And then we've got some Voltron stuff going on right there. And then on the right, we see some Transformers. I don't know if I just missed them. I didn't get them for whatever reason. It's probably something on my end. But we do get to see some Transformer collection going on over there. And so this might just be an update from last time, though. And just like we got some new stuff going on in this corner here. Looking pretty good, pretty cool. And it goes to show that just take your time, neatly display it, and it looks very good. And I'm a fan of the black shelves. I get mine from Target, or you can also get them at Walmart. And they're not really all that expensive, but they do look very elegant. So I also got a one shot of a collection from Steven, and this looks pretty good. So what this is 4 of those black bookshelves I was just talking about, and they're put together to side by side, and then everything seems to be on a particular shelf to match what era it came with, and they're all matching themselves, whether it is Masterpiece, whether it is Chug Scale, and with all of that. Still looking very good, fantastic overall, and I don't see much Chug. It's mostly Masterpiece, and I might be mistaken on a couple of the Chug items, but looking at them, they're grouped and they're stacked, and you can see all the figures. For the most part, most of the shelves have the bigger ones in the back and the smaller bots in the front and all that kind of stuff. Also, maintaining some artwork all on one shelf, which is good. I do like packaging. I do like that kind of stuff. And so with that, kind of grouping it in one spot there gets the job done. And then alternately, having a really tiny shelf right there in the middle, and you're putting smaller figures that really would just kind of waste space. You're not wasting any space on that shelf. So that's another good idea, is to say, hey, I can squeeze in one more shelf right here, and that will work. And so that is something good to do. But overall, it looks like a whole lot of fun right here on this one wall of fun. Thanks so much for showing us this, Steven. Lastly, we're going to get into Ray and his Halloween picture. And you got a couple other pictures going on right here. But he's got some stuff that he picks up, little things here and there, custom work on the wall behind him to display it, and then we've got these wonderful figures from MMC. These are the larger cassettes, and I love them. They're great, which they're coming out with more. More of these MMC cassettes are on the way. It's been 2 years waiting for new ones, and they're finally starting to arrive. So pretty exciting there. But got himself pumpkins and stuff like that for Halloween. A lot of fun right there. Also, we've got, I think, some custom work going on here. So we have a cell-shaded Optimus Prime, and I'm thinking the cell-shaded Optimus Prime is Transform Element, and then we have the oversized, upscaled, was it Weijang? I think it was Weijang or Jim Bao that made this Optimus Prime from. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So this Orion Pax is big, and he's cool. I've got him. I think he's great. It's a lot of fun. About to take a look at a different Orion Pax pretty soon. But yeah, where you come from and where you are now, right? Orion Pax. Here we go with some bad guys with a nice bad guy backdrop. I'm really not sure what's going on with this Insecticon in here. I think this might be some custom work. I think several of these are custom jobs. I'm not 100% sure. Don't have all the information, but I think that he took base figures from maybe a mainline figure and then did some work to them to make them taller, so that, as you can see on the left, that's a Masterpiece figure. So that's pretty cool overall. Kind of like how he's done all of that, so that really works. But looks pretty good together overall as some good old Decepticons. Ray, thanks for showing what you've been up to, what you're working on, and kind of fun to have a little holiday spirit in there. All right, so let me know what you guys think about these collections. Did you get any good ideas out of this? Was it fun to look at other people's collections? And I'll have a link down below where you can submit yours for the 16,000 subscriber special. Thanks again to everybody for all the support on the channel, and like and subscribe. Dioramas out.